fascinating Max de Winter lives on the screen in the person of Laurence Olivier.
He had this natural gift for being able to inhabit completely different characters.
And so your parents met, they were both working on Broadway.
The legacy across those years is astonishing.
I am Martin Nolan, co-founder, executive director of Julien's Auctions, and I have the utmost privilege of sitting in the beautiful home of Laurence Olivier and Joan Plowright. And I'm excited to walk through and meet Richard Olivier, one of the sons of Laurence Olivier and Joan Plowright.
He got this place as a little ploughed field, so he literally created everything that you see here.
You look at the view here, so tranquil, so peaceful. I mean, this was his escape. There was no fans. He could be Laurence Olivier.
That's why he got it. When I was growing up as a young child, I had absolutely no awareness of who they were, what their reputations were. So it was only really when I went to boarding school, age 10, where my then first best friend bet me 5p that my dad wasn't the Laurence Olivier. And I took the bet and I won, and I thought, this is quite a good deal. So that was the first time I realized.
Richard, like, this is history.
This is their lives, yeah.
This is special.
So this is the Golden Globe that he got for the film of Hamlet, which was one of his favorite films, and this was one that he definitely kept in the cabinet relatively close by him.
I spoke about how your dad always needed something to help him get into the character, and this is his
false nose of Richard III.
Definitely.
He said he couldn't find the character till he found the nose.
This is also very iconic and special.
This is what he wore on top of his helmet. It's the battle crown that goes on top of the helmet. And this one, saw quite a bit of action. Henry V, launched him into a different career. It was something that Winston Churchill had personally backed. So that became part of, like, the national conversation.
The Olivier Awards are very prestigious awards here in the UK.
It was the Society of West End Theatre Awards, and they offered it to Dad. Would you put your name on it? And he came to all of us, and we all said, well, Dad, we're all going into theatre, and it would be too embarrassing. And Mum, was still a leading actress at that time, so maybe not. So he turned it down. They came back a couple of years later, and this time he didn't ask us. He just said, I'll have it. This was the prototype for the Olivier Awards. The first few years, it was a statue of Dad playing Henry V.
That's part of history right there. Yeah. I love this because it's his script holder.
Yeah, his favourite script holder.
How many characters would your dad have played in his lifetime?
200. 200.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And you, an upcoming actor, could bid on this and own this and have the good karma of Laurence Olivier.
It's a wonderful gift to be working with Julien's on this, and I'm particularly excited about the coordination and cooperation with Turner Classic Movies, because their legacy does live on.
Tell us about The Entertainer. This is actually signed by John.
Yeah, Dear Larry, Always John. This was the play that really brought my parents together, that they did in London before they both went to Broadway.
Richard, when we were chatting downstairs, you mentioned about your dad going to the theatre and sneak in a hip flask. Is this the little hip flask that he
This was
have?
his favourite hip flask, yes. This has been with him to many theatre trips.
And do you remember what his beverage of choice was?
Definitely whiskey with water.
Very memorable piece.
He loved his pocket watches. He had several, but this was his special occasion one for sure.
This is just like
his everyday little watch.
Everyday little watch.
Yeah.
So he probably wore this a lot more than the Cartier. I like this word because it says the man who has everything, and probably you would expect that Laurence Olivier had everything except his little brush for his makeup.
No, that's a belly button brush. That's
even better. Like, definitely everyone should have a belly button brush. Your dad was very famously in the commercial for Polaroid cameras. And here we have the actual...
The original version that he was gifted as part of his contribution to Polaroid.
This is pretty historic.
He was very proud of this. He became a second lieutenant in the Second World War as a trainer in the Royal Naval Air Force, and this was his greatcoat. Him and Ralph Richardson both came back from Hollywood and signed up because they wanted to do their bit.
How do you think you and your sisters will feel after the auction, knowing that these items are now in new homes, in museums and fans worldwide?
It definitely was a big decision. We spent weeks really going through everything, and some of it, was letters from accountants that we felt we could sadly, let go of altogether into a rubbish bin. But there were so many photographs, so many little items that we remember our parents using that have been around, but we've never really been able to do anything with them. And the thought that other people might appreciate them and value them in their own right, it felt like the right time.
Richard, I want to thank you so much. What a fantastic day we've spent here in the countryside. Everyone at Julien's Auctions and TCM are truly grateful to you and your family for trusting us to bring this auction to the public. We will have an experience in the auction where people can bid and perhaps come and stay in this idyllic home for a week. And I think they will just never forget that experience. So thank you so much.
Thank you.